while traveling home for the holidays can be really tough. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. Your boy Jermaine back with another video. This video I want to talk about going home for the holidays, because this year I did not go home, did not go see my family for the holidays. I skipped out on Thanksgiving and I also skipped out on Christmas at the last minute. Let's just talk about this. Definitely know a handful of people in the Bay Area that don't like to go back east to visit their family for the holidays. I mean, they like to visit their families, but they just don't like to do it for the holidays. And I thought I would make a video just talking about some of the reasons why I don't exactly like to go home for the holidays. First off, going home for the holidays can be extremely stressful, especially with like the whole airport situation. How the airports are always crowded, and not to forget that the flights are usually a lot more expensive during the holiday season. And then, you know, once I get home, I have to, usually I have to rent a car because Memphis is so freaking spread out. Like, there's no such thing as public transportation. No, wait, let me take that back. They do have a bus, but you would have to wait maybe an hour to get picked up, and nobody rides the bus in Memphis. For real, nobody rides the bus. Most people I know have two cars, just in case one breaks down, they can drive the other one, that sort of thing. So that's what I'm thinking. I gotta go home, I gotta do that, right? So I'm gonna pay $600 for a flight to go home. And then once I get home, renting a car is going to cost a whole lot more than any other normal time to rent a car in Memphis, just because it's the holiday season and so many people from Memphis leave that city. They get so far away from Memphis, but guess what? A lot of people come back home during the holidays, and when people come back home during the holidays, man, everything fills up like crazy. It's hard to rent a car because they want to charge some crazy amount for some basic Ford Focus or some Toyota Yaris. And it's insane. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to go through all that. I just don't want to go through all that on this trip, because this year I've just been traveling like crazy. I've spent so much time in airports, and I've spent so much time on airplanes. And the last thing I want to do is just come back to my home country and just be flying around when it's crazy busy, and then the prices are crazy expensive, and then I'm going to get home and everything's going to cost me more. And then once I get home, there's this whole stress factor, okay? Once again, my hometown is very spread out. So what do I have to do? I have to go visit this family member, I have to go visit this family member, I have to go visit that family member. And all of that is really cool. It's a whole lot of fun at the same time. I get to see these folks, see how people are doing, catch up with folks, what's going on. But then at the same time, when I go home for the holidays, I always find myself sort of sitting in the background. And what I mean by that is, since I'm vegan, most people down south are not vegan. So when I go back home, it's just really awkward to show up to a Thanksgiving dinner and everybody's eating and you're not eating. So it makes me not even want to go home. Well, this is one reason it makes me not want to go home. And it's the same way with Christmas. I show up at Christmas time and everybody's eating. Everybody's just sitting around just eating and eating and eating. And I'm this health freak that lives in California that say, oh, I don't eat meat, I don't eat cheese, I don't eat dairy, I don't eat none of that crap y'all eat, I don't eat cow milk. I'm just this, California environmentalist. I guess not. I'm actually not an environmentalist because, think about it. Think about all the money I spent on flights. Yeah, that's gonna offset my vegan diet. That's gonna offset me driving an electric car. That's definitely gonna offset me riding an electric skateboard. Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the dollars that I spend on airplane tickets and how so many of those dollars are going straight to oil. So maybe I'm not the best example of an environmentalist, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Going back home. Another thing that just drives me insane about going back home is, people remember you. Or people remember me. People remember me as I was 10 years ago when I lived in my hometown. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I graduated from East High School, home of the Mustangs. Mustang. That's a horse, by the way, not a car. It's also a car too, but I'm referring to the horse. East Mustangs. That's the mascot. Yeah, you guys get what I'm saying. So whenever I go back home, people remember me as this person that I was back then. But I'm actually not that same person. I'm not that same person. I'm not the same person at all. A lot of people in my family, they'll say things like, oh, you're back home. You're back in Memphis. What are you going to do? And it's I'm a tourist. What do you mean I'm going to do? I'm just going to go visit people. I'm going to go to old places that I used to go to. That's what I'm going to do. And then people say things like, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Whenever I hear people say over and over, be careful, that lets me know that they're very nervous about something in life. Like, this could be something like, maybe they're nervous about crime, maybe they're nervous about an accident that's gonna happen. This lets me know that, like, okay, this person is nervous about something because, of course I'm gonna be okay. Of course I'm gonna be careful. I am the type of person, like, I literally backpack like all over the world. So of course I'm gonna go to my hometown and I'm gonna be careful. Of course I'm gonna go to my hometown and I'm not gonna walk out into the middle of the street when there's cars coming and I'm just gonna think, oh, the cars are gonna stop for me. No, I'm gonna use common sense and I might try my best to be careful. I mean, if something happens, it probably wasn't something that I want to happen, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, I feel sometimes people can be like very like sort of homey, basically. Like, they're just like, it's like home. Like, if I never left home, I can totally get why people would say like, be careful, be careful, be careful. Like, I totally get it, but I don't know about the whole be careful thing. Maybe it's just like a random thing that I'm just bringing up. Another thing I don't like about going home, I am very, very, very surprised at the amount of people who live in my hometown that think that Memphis is the best city in the world. Like, I am literally blown away how many people think that Memphis is like the best place to live. And I'm not saying that Memphis is a bad place to live, but what I will say is I've just basically traveled and I've seen so many other places, and I wouldn't say that Memphis is the best place to live. But when you grow up in a place and you don't leave that place and you don't travel, you don't see other places, you don't go experience other cultures, you don't go see other cities and just see other countries, the place that you live is the best place in the world, because that's the best place, that's the only place that you've been to probably. Or maybe there's something else drawing you to that place. Maybe it's not necessarily the place that you like so much. Maybe it's the people there. Maybe it's the job. Maybe it's the relationship that you're in. Maybe it's the fact that your kids are in school and you don't want to leave this place because you really, really like this place because your kids really, really like it. And another thing about going home for me, this is very random and I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about this. But when I go home, I notice that things are very, I don't want to say segregated, because I feel that that's not the proper word to use in today's times, but I just feel like there's like certain things that certain people do in Memphis and certain things that other people do. For example, I'm just going to use just this one example. In the Bay Area, North Face is from the Bay Area, if you guys don't know. North Face is very, very popular around the Bay Area. You see white people wearing North Face. You see Asians wearing North Face. You see black people wearing North Face. You see Indians wearing North Face. You see everyone wearing North Face. There's not just one group of people that you only see wearing North Face. When I go back home to my hometown, and I'm the type, I always rock my North Face. I'm actually not wearing a North Face now. I'm just rocking Lulu because Lulu's hella comfy, yo. But whenever I go back to my hometown, it's usually colder in my hometown, so I'm always rocking a North Face jacket. I always get the craziest looks when I walk into a place wearing a North Face jacket as a black person. Like, maybe I should explain this. So back in my hometown, only white people wear North Face. Like, I literally, you never see black people wear North Face. It is like, it's considered a white thing down south. But out in California, like or most places in the U.S., even in New York, like everybody wears North Face. I see everybody wearing North Face. It's not just like a white thing or just a light skin thing. Like, everybody wears it because it's a really good brand of jackets. I mean, they make really decent jackets, and it's also an American brand that's not made in America. But yeah, anyway, gosh, I remember when I first moved to California and I went back to my hometown, Memphis. I remember walking into like Whole Foods with a North Face jacket on. And I got some crazy stares, you know? Like, I see these redneck looking white dudes and they looking at me like, and then I see some black people and they looking at me like, and I'm thinking, I don't get that. And then I figured it out. I was like, yo, it's the North Face jacket. It's straight up the North Face jacket. So you know what our homeboy Jermaine did? I literally took some tape and covered up the North Face logo on the front and the North Face logo on the back, just so I wouldn't get any crazy looks. Unusual things like brands and certain race of people only wear like certain brands, like FUBU. You would never see a white person wearing FUBU in Memphis because that's a black brand. Like, I don't know, like the whole, like, maybe it's just a southern thing. If you're watching this video from outside the US, the whole US is not like this. Please don't think my whole country is like this, because my whole country is not like this. I'm talking about my hometown, and this is why I don't live in my hometown. Anyway, probably my last reason, and one of the biggest reasons, is jobs and people that live there. Now, I can actually make a whole video talking about jobs and people that live there, because one thing I've noticed about my hometown, I don't really have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs. Like, all of my friends and majority of my family, they all work for other people, meaning that they have jobs. And when you have a job, you just have less flexibility, you have less time. You have to basically listen to someone else. But that actually has nothing to do with why I don't like going home. But let's talk about jobs once again, because when I go back home, I notice that a lot of people have the same job. Like, they have the same job maybe 5 years or 10 years or maybe 15 years. They've had the same job. And when you keep a job for 10 years and you keep a job for 5 years and when you keep a job for 15 years, you sort of can move up in that job, and you can do things like make more money and get better benefits. And when you've had a job for 10 years, it's really easy to get things like a home loan, and it's really easy to go get a car loan, and it's really easy to live this lifestyle of consumption. It's really easy to say, oh, I just bought this house 3 years ago and I just got a raise this year. You know, I think I'm gonna move over to this neighborhood. I think I'm gonna get a bigger house, you know. So when I go back home, I'm around a lot of friends and I'm around a lot of family like this, and one thing I notice about a lot of people that get caught up in this lifestyle, the lifestyle that's like, okay, I got this good job and I can't do anything for the next 20 years and they're basically stuck there. They'll never admit it, but they're stuck at that job because there's nothing else that they can do to make the same amount of money. They've been working there for 10 years. They've got maxed out at the raises, so they're not gonna make that much more money. And you know, they bought this house, they have this really nice car. So basically they have no wiggle room. They have no extra money to go travel because they don't travel. They have no extra money to really do anything special because, you know, they moved up in their job. They're used to getting the same amount of money every week. Maybe it's $1,500 or $1,200 a week or $1,700 a week, or I don't know. Do people even make that much money in Memphis? That was a joke. Obviously people do make that much money in Memphis, but I don't know anyone in Memphis that makes $1,700 a week. And almost everybody I know in the Bay Area makes at least $1,700 a week. You know, they got this job, they got this car, they got this house, but there's not much else that they can do. So when I come around someone who doesn't have the job, someone who doesn't have the car, and someone who doesn't have the big, beautiful house, and I come around and I'm just like, yo, what's up? Like, I'm traveling, I'm backpacking, like, you know, I'm on a different path in life that most people are not on. A lot of people are on that whole American dream, you know. If you can still, if you live in a part of the U.S. where you can still accomplish the American dream, and the American dream I'm talking about is the white picket fence with the house and the garage and the one car. Some parts of the U.S. this is very accomplishable. Other parts of the U.S. like California and New York, this is not so easy to accomplish, especially with one person nowadays, because inflation and prices have just went through the roof. And then I take myself, I got none of that crap to show off, man. I'm just a YouTuber. I just like to travel, and I like to check in on Instagram and random places around the world. This is how I get down. And when it comes to material things, I'm just not that big into material things. And I notice people back home, yo, wait till tax season come around, man. I'm gonna get $4,000. I'm about to go to the mall and spend the whole $4,000. This is not me talking. This is people back home, yo. Because when I get $4,000 from a tax return, I'm gonna freaking try to flip that $4,000. I'm not finna go buy something that's gonna lose its value. I'm gonna go buy something that's gonna make me some money. I mean, that's just how I am. But I'm weird. Like, most people don't think like that. Most people are like, I got $4,000. I'm about to go blow this, yo. Most people in my hometown, they ain't like that, yo. They get $4,000. They about to be looking fresh for about a couple of weeks, and then when the money gone, they gonna be broke again. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Things that make me nervous about traveling home, things of that sort. I guess when you travel a lot, it is hard to go back home. Like, it is. Like, it kind of is. And then, you know, the family situation. I got a brother. He always wants me to move back home, and I actually haven't talked to him in like a couple a couple months, because we kind of got into it on the phone, because I was telling him about a story that happened overseas, and my brother just like flipped out and got really angry, and I'm just like, yo, chill, man. Like, I'm 30 years old here. Like, you ain't gotta freaking yell at me and trip out, you know? And then I thought to myself, I said, this is my brother. And I just told him this crazy story that happened to me overseas. And my brother is the type of person, he's never left the country. He doesn't know what it's like to leave the country. He's got no idea. So I can't get mad at him just because he got mad at me for telling him his story. My brother just doesn't know. Like, he's just, his perspective is not that big on the world like me. Like, I'm just a freaking freak traveler, yo. But yeah, that's kind of some of the reasons that kind of make me nervous about going home. I mean, the last time I went home, it was for a friend's wedding, and I was supposed to video the wedding. Guys, I'm just gonna be honest. I remember going to the airport. I was so nervous getting on that plane. I was so nervous, and I'm only going home. It's not like I'm going to Africa on some backpacking journey for a couple months and I only have $20 in cash. Like, no, like, I'm going home, and I was just so nervous because, like, when you travel and when you move away from home, you change. You start to change really, really fast because you're trying to adapt to that new place that you're living in. And when you go back home, you're just like, this is the old place. Like, this is not, no, this is the old place. And for some people, this can be really tough. This can be really difficult. I've traveled with an ex-girlfriend years ago, and she has told me, like, I've never seen you act this way. Like, you know, she's like, I've just never seen you so, like, on edge, you know? And I remember when we landed into Memphis, she was like, you started acting this way. And then when we left Memphis, she was like, you're back to normal. You're not acting this way. And it's just one of those things, like, you leave home, you become a different person. And then when you go back home, the only person that has changed is you. And your perspective, your mindset, all of that has changed. And it can be really difficult going back home. It can take a lot of energy going back home. Like, when I go back home and I hang out with a handful of my friends, I notice that some people are doing the same exact thing we were doing 11 years ago when I lived in my hometown. And I think about myself and how much my life has changed just this year. Just this year, I look at just how much my life has changed. I mean, when I first moved to California, like 6 months after I moved to California, my life had changed so much. And then now I look at my life and just this year, like, I just can't believe it. Just the past 6 months, like the past freaking 3 months, my life has changed so much. Like, my diet has changed so much in the past 3 months. And little things like that will take your life to new heights. You know, when you would go experience different things and different cultures, and you learn and you change things in your everyday life, and you just become a bigger and a better person, and you grow, you become richer, you become stronger, you become more intelligent, and life continues to go on. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm out because it's hella late. I'm gonna go drive some Uber, make some cash, get ready for that next trip, and peace out. Yo, like, comment, subscribe.